Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining Enact Systems today for our last webinar of the year. Today, we are going to showcase the Enact platform and how it makes the design, proposal generation, and project management aspects of residential and commercial solar project sales very easy. I am Sharmila Ravula, the Chief Strategy Officer for Enact Systems. And joining me today are fellow panelists, Mark Chapman, the Director of Energy Services at Enact Systems, and Spencer Wells, the Director of Business Development at Centrica Business Solutions. Spencer, Mark, thank you for joining us on this panel today. Spencer, can you quickly introduce yourself and Centrica as well?
Sure, yeah, thank you. Spencer Wells here with Centrica Business Solutions. We're a national energy services provider from everything from solar and storage to lighting and controls, EV charging. So we try to kind of cover the entire energy envelope for our customers and being able to provide them a diversity of energy products that not only helps them meet their energy savings goals, but as well as their renewable targets. So we really work as kind of a developer, installer, and financier with a host of different C&I and kind of nonprofit customers throughout the various, the various states. And my main focus is more in California. So our team here on the West Coast is mainly in California, Oregon, Arizona. But yeah, we provide a host of energy services with my focus being on solar and storage.
Great. Thank you so much, Spencer. Mark, if you can quickly introduce yourself as well.
Yes, thanks, Sharmila, and good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Spencer, for joining. My name is Mark Chapman. I'm the Director of Energy Services here at Enact, where I provide all end-to-end services for project developers and asset owners, connecting our software suite with users all over the world.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. So in terms of the presentation today, I will quickly provide a brief introduction on Enact Systems and the capabilities we offer. This will be followed by Mark, who will walk you through the software platform and highlight how the platform can accelerate the design process, and also how it helps commercial and residential solar teams collaborate and manage the projects that they're installing very easily. Then Spencer will talk about the project that we are showcasing, which is the project at San Diego, and how Centrica has worked with Enact on getting this commercial project for a hotel chain delivered this year. Then we'll open up the session for questions. So please go ahead and start submitting your questions through the Q&A feature, and we will try to wrap all these questions up within 45 minutes today. So let's get started. Excuse me, 1 second. Looks like I'm having some PowerPoint issues. There we go. Okay. Share screen. All right. Hopefully you can still see my screen. Yes. So in terms of what Enact Systems provides, we are a leading cloud platform providing end-to-end services on a digital platform for solar and energy storage developers and customers. And now the platform is actually being used in over 15 countries by hundreds of users. So what we provide through our platform is a mechanism for all stakeholders in the solar and energy storage space to connect with each other and also access data that provides intelligence and analytics that is useful for these specific stakeholders on a single independent software platform. So in terms of the platform itself, there are two parts to the platform. One is ENVISION, which allows providers and installers to quickly design and come up with proposals for solar and energy storage projects, look at the cost and financing options for this, and deliver proposals to customers quickly in a matter of minutes. And once the project is contracted, we also have a project management feature set that allows collaboration within teams to get the project installed and permitted and approved and delivered to the end customers. So once the project is installed, we have the engage side of the platform, which allows end customers and fleet owners to actually track the financial as well as the energy metrics of the systems that have been installed, and also provides insights into how the system has been performing over the life of the system, and provides the capabilities to actually manage or track all the documents as well as other paperwork related to these assets on a single dashboard. We have a lot of customers across the world who use either the ENVISION or the Engage side of the platform, as well as quite a few commercial customers and customers like REITs, hotel chains, large corporations, especially in the Middle East, who are using our project services framework, which Mark will talk a little bit about today, and how the project services allows the systems, the Enact project services allows systems to be designed very quickly, and also allows these commercial customers to connect with providers such as Centrica to deliver on the project. And finally, once the project is installed, these customers can use our Engage platform to track the live performance of the system. With that introduction, now I'll request Mark to showcase the platform and talk about how Enact enables the project delivery for the commercial client that we had in San Diego. Mark, all yours.
Great. Thanks a lot for the intro, Sharmila. And I'm going to discuss kind of the breadth of our end-to-end platform as we go through some sample demo and features of our software platform and how we use them together with partners such as Centrica. So let me share screen. I'll log into an Enact account here. Great. So as Sharmila was mentioning, we have an end-to-end software platform that starts with project origination and pipeline management. As you can see here, a user can log in and sort and manage by their entire pipeline, or view their team's pipeline and sort by multiple hierarchies of users. They can also go in and view their active tasks. So if you have an active workflow or project that requires you to complete a certain task, you can really track kind of the next step or the next task that you as a user need to complete. You can also manage the tasks through your team, so that you can, again, create reports on workflow timelines, project timelines, to create more accurate forecasts and pricing estimates. So that's how we can, again, you can manage a pipeline and have a sales team all using the same platform. Within an actual project, we'll go in and you can, again, see the actual workflow for each project. You can house documents for the entire process that can be linked to each workflow step, which I'll demo later. And then you can also view, again, the project details, the address, the utility information, different versions of designs or quotes you have for solar and/or energy storage. And as Sharmila mentioned, we have active users in over 15 countries, and we've been able to model utility rates and incentives in some of the most complex regions, and are really able to provide this end-to-end platform for users in multiple countries with different currencies, rates, or utility providers. And you can analyze any method of data input here, whether you have annual kilowatt hour amounts or interval data analysis from either green button or some other 15-minute or hourly interval data input. And you're able to actually analyze the consumption model along with the actual monthly cost. You're able to look at seasonal load profiles based on a month or season or the average profile throughout the year. So we're really helping customers to visualize customer loads and different generation profiles so that you can optimize designs for either time of use offset, battery backup, solar self-consumption, or other storage strategies. We'll just go into a sample design here to view the system layout capabilities. And as was the case with our San Diego project that we worked on with Spencer and Centrica Business Solutions, this system was originally designed from our sales channel within Enact to provide an initial savings analysis and generation analysis for a PV system on a hotel. And those projections were used to create a bidding analysis with multiple contractors that were Enact partners. And in that case, Centrica was able to use that design that ended up working perfectly. As we know, there's many different design platforms out there, and we were able to prove that within just a 2-minute design, you're able to accurately project system sizing, savings analysis, and generation. And you can model any type of rooftop project. As here we have a mix of carport canopy structures as well as rooftop arrays. You can easily go between and trace out an additional array to expand a system design. And again, users can have their own customized hardware list so that you can choose from predetermined hardware options for modules and inverters. And that way your team can accurately price projects so that your actual component pricing can be linked to your design, so that if you select a certain racking type, module, and system size, it'll automatically price your system. As you can see, I've added a 60 kilowatt array to this design, and you can easily just click to delete a particular array. You can double click to delete certain modules if you have particular obstructions or design changes, and use these undo and redo buttons, of course, to refresh the design or go back on any changes. And the next step would be to capture your image that you want to appear in the proposal so that you can either capture a particular building or entire campus. You can select from different inverter options. We have here an SMA Tri-Power 36 kilowatt, but you can, again, have complete access to a component library that can be customized to whatever you offer in your region or your team. And our new release includes battery storage analysis so that you may compare multiple battery options and control strategies. So here we can add a 90 kilowatt, 360 kilowatt hour battery from Energy Port. We can just include a reserve estimate that you want to keep for battery backup. And the rest can be used for different control strategies or either self-consumption, time of use, arbitrage, or demand savings. Again, selecting a post PV rate schedule. You can also upload custom generation files from Helioscope if you have a particular design that you've already done. So we're really open in terms of all data sources. Otherwise, you can just click on the system results here to get the system generation analysis through PV watts and our own utility bill savings analysis. You can see the pre and post solar bills, the estimated system performance. And now we're tracking as well the amount of actual self-consumption. So you can see how much of your solar generation was actually consumed on site versus net metered and or stored for battery storage. So here we can see the annual kilowatt hour offset by month. We can see the monthly pre and post solar bills. And we can see a summer and winter load analysis to see the actual generation profile of solar versus your building's consumption, and view the actual charge and discharge of your energy storage system. Again, this will actually calculate any time of use savings, and as well as, we'll be releasing new strategies and features to optimize energy storage and solar design for different control strategies. Once you have your design locked in, and we also have a powerful finance engine where, again, you can automatically price your system based on component and labor pricing set by your administrator. You can also compare multiple finance options that your company may offer, whether it be loan, lease, PPA, or PACE. I obviously add different incentives and do different tax strategies for depreciation, or of course model your ITC if you're in the US, and select from multiple customized proposal formats. So that's a quick run through of just the project origination, design, financial analysis that can be done all through Enact. And once you have your proposal to present to a customer, which we'll bring up here, you can have customized and branded proposals that have all of the system savings analysis, pictures, system specs, financial metrics. And system performance. And again, these can all be customized and branded to your company. In our case, this is just a branded Enact proposal that we use for our corporate clients. And so quickly, I'll shift gears here to the San Diego project, which actually came through the Enact platform and was ultimately awarded to Centrica Business Solutions. And the Enact platform was used again to track the system workflow and dates, and that can provide automatic updates to the customer, as well as track particular milestones and documents so that everything could be tracked on a single platform. And that way, both the project developer, the end customer, and all stakeholders have access to all system data and documents, as well as once the system is then live, it can be linked to a customer-facing app where they can actually view the system performance, versus what they were projected, include not only the monitoring data, but actual system savings and access for a future customer engagement.
Great. Thanks, Mark. In terms of the specific project itself, the project in San Diego, Spencer, can you add a little bit more flavor about how Centrica worked with Enact? And
Yeah,
more details on the project, please. Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, the project was awarded to Centrica, I think, based on our ability to work with Enact to help maximize the roof space. So, as Mark was showing in the design options, we put together a pretty unique dual tilt racking system that was a ballasted rooftop that went on the hotel. And it really just helped maximize the total generation or kilowatt hour output annually for the customer. And that's really what they were after. And so we did a great job working with Mark and the Enact team to really kind of make sure that the model was accurate. The Enact platform did a great job of kind of predicting kind of what we confirmed in the field. But ultimately, the project was I think it was about 180 to 185 kilowatt rooftop system. And a lot of the Enact platform helped kind of dive into and accurately predict the final system size that was ultimately installed. And then Mark's team also did a great job of getting us all the interval data, all the kind of utility analysis, everything that we kind of would have done on our own. I think was kind of all driven off of the Enact kind of analysis. So that really helped us kind of streamline everything to get this into contract ultimately, and deliver a project, a great project to the customer. So that's kind of how the process went. Our team handled all of the EPC work from contract signing all the way through permission to operate down in SDG&E was the utility. We worked with Enact and the customer used Enact to kind of track the opportunity and in construction on how things were moving forward. So overall, I think our team was very happy with working with Enact and making sure that ultimately what was projected on the platform was what was ended up being delivered to the Holiday Inn Express there in San Diego. So we had a good experience, and we're looking forward to doing more projects with Enact as a developer EPC.
Great. Thank you, Spencer. So before I have a few questions for you as well as Mark, but prior to that, I would like to ask the audience to start putting in their questions. We have one question for Mark, which I would like to address, and then I will go to a question for Spencer. There is a question here, Mark, asking, was there a bid process for the San Diego job at this hotel? How was Enact chosen, and what was Enact's role in the bid process?
Great, thanks, Shamila. Yeah, so Enact basically served as a consultant or connection in this point where our sales channel and referral partners that act as project originators were able to find a client interested in analyzing the solar potential of their sites. We were able to look through their portfolio and select a hotel in San Diego where we did the initial design and analysis, which really got the customer sold on the financial viability of the project. And then at that point, Enact sourced bids from multiple partners, usually users of the Enact platform all over the place. to get different data and design concepts to really finalize a bid package for the customer. And then the customer would just sign an EPC agreement directly with Centrica in this case.
Great, thank you, Mark.
The customer is able to essentially track the projections from the beginning of the process, and then have the Enact branded platform that actually tracks the system performance and savings versus their projections, and able to track, again, multiple sites in their portfolio as they begin to expand the use of solar through their hotel chain.
Right. So this part, the post-installation part of the platform, which is called Engage, provides these customers, such as this hotel chain, which used Centrica as the EPC, to actually look at the project performance metrics. And this not only covers the energy savings, which you can get from a lot of monitoring systems, but also the financial savings. So when the system was initially designed, there was a certain assumption in terms of the annual savings as well as the ROI related to the project. So the Engage platform allows end customers and fleet owners, such as this hotel chain, to look at how the investment in solar is actually performing in real time as compared to what was initially promised when the system was designed and contracted. So Spencer, in terms of Centrica's customers, since you focus a lot on commercial customers, can you tell us a little bit more about how COVID has impacted the project acquisition and the project delivery of these projects this year? And do you see any changes coming in the next year?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, Sharmila. I think that COVID itself, I think in terms of the industry impact, actually, if you look at the interconnections approved and actually solar as a whole, specifically in California, it's actually increased over COVID. And I think a lot of that has to do with the customer not having as much activity on site has really allowed them to complete more construction of intensive or disruption to the site projects, such as solar, whether you're installing a carport or rooftop. So I think in terms of the impact from COVID has actually been surprisingly minimal, at least from a sourcing standpoint, as well as just customer interest. And I think total megawatts that Centrica had done this year compared to pre-COVID was actually surprisingly similar. If not, we actually completed a couple more projects and sold more projects this year than compared to last year. So that was kind of a shock. But I think COVID in general has really forced customers to, again, just go back and look at their operating budget, find ways to save money and become more kind of resilient and nimble, as they deliver, on their business model. So overall, I think COVID's really put into perspective, how important it is to look at all areas of the facility and, ultimately move forward with projects that deliver the most amount of savings and best ROI, to the client. So, I think COVID, if anything, has really kind of helped push some of these projects forward in order to, help the long-term viability and health of a lot of our customers in the C&I space.
Great, thank you, Spencer. Before I go to the next question for you, Mark, there is another question asking whether for this specific, the case study at Holiday Inn, was compensation tied to system performance?
There was no specific performance guarantee on this project. It was not financed in that way. However, the system savings are tracked through the Enact platform, which is tied to, again, making sure that the system performs as expected. In that case, that may be tied to a developer guarantee. But in this case, Enact's revenue is derived from basically data services.
Great, thank you. So, Spencer, again, since you're looking at commercial clients and Centrica is big into energy storage, could you talk a little bit more about the adoption of energy storage by commercial customers in the last year? And also the use cases that you're finding to be the most viable for these customers?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, energy storage, I think, really has started to take off in 2020. I think that energy storage gives customers a lot more flexibility in terms of when power is ultimately delivered to the facility and help maximizes kind of on time of use rates, as well as helps minimize and sees additional pickup in what we call demand charge reduction from the customer's bill. So as utilities, you know, and the major IOUs here in California continue to kind of shift around their rates and focus more on demand and demand charges and increasing peak demand and max incidental peak demand, that's where storage really provides a lot of value for the customer. So you do see a lot of pickup there in terms of just overall project savings. I think the other ancillary benefits that storage provide are some resiliency plays. So we've had customers say, hey, I've been hit with a lot of the PSPS events here in California, or specifically in PG&E or SCE or SDG&E, and I want a way to run my critical loads, or I want a way to keep my facility online, you know, for a few hours during a couple of these outages, whether it's losing product or just shutting down the facility. There are other revenue losses there that customers are realizing because of a lot of the PS events that have happened over the past couple of years. So storage is a very, I think, interesting market, and I think it will continue to grow more rapidly in 21 as the deployment of it becomes much more robust and a little bit more of a kind of a normal installation compared to, I think, a few years ago, it was kind of this shiny new object in the industry. But you know, through the cost coming down, as well as the software technology of the battery systems getting much more sophisticated and having a kind of a year approving period from 2019, I think that you'll see the storage will continue to be included in a lot of just solar proposals. And I think it's actually going to be pretty, consistent over time that you're going to see solar paired with storage more often than you're going to see just a solar only installation. So there's a bright future for energy storage for sure. But it does add a little bit of complexity to each of these projects, obviously, with the utility. But you know, as it becomes more mainstream, I think that you know, the installation and interconnections will be much more streamlined with the utilities and the jurisdictions, and you'll see a lot more you know, use cases for storage in the future.
Great, thank you, Spencer. Definitely looking forward to the rollout of also the microgrid proceedings that are happening in California and how that will impact the adoption of energy storage. So I think there are definitely very interesting years ahead for specifically California for energy storage and solar as well. So Mark, in terms of the project services that Enact provides, you touched a little bit on the design services that we provided for this case study. What other aspects of the solar and storage project lifecycle can Enact's project services team help with?
Great. So yeah, our team or partners really run the range of all different types of solar stakeholders, whether that is engineering services, you know, product distributors, actual OEMs, whether they're manufacturers of batteries or inverters or solar panels, as well as finance funds and even you know, just again, sales developers and EPCs. So we're able to gather all of that data to really provide smart decisions to our, you know, any customers that ask for our help. And I think that provides a lot of value for basically, large asset owners or project developers. So we're able to really help at any stage or supplement at any stage of the project based on the stakeholder. And I think that, again, makes us really valuable from any point, beginning, during, or end of construction.
Great. So in terms of any of the current projects, can you talk a little bit about what specific aspects? So for instance, the project in the Bay Area, can you talk a little bit more about which concrete aspects of this project Enact has helped with?
Well, for that local Sunnyvale project, again, we actually sourced the engineering and permit documents so that the customer could properly source multiple subcontractors for both the racking, the carports, and solar wiring. So we were really, again, be able to bring all of the data, finalize the design in Enact, and provide that info to multiple stakeholders, which resulted in a project closing in a little under a month, especially at the end of the year here. So we take a process that we usually think takes 60 to 90 days into something that's less than 30 days.
Great. So Spencer, since you've worked on this first project with Enact, I also wanted to get your perspective on what other aspects of the project acquisition lifecycle could Enact help Centrica with? Can you talk about how things could be improved for future projects?
Sure. Yeah, I think as the delivery of a lot of these projects are fairly complex, when you get to all the kind of nuts and bolts of the utility interconnection and the a lot of the existing electrical information on the site, depending on each building, I think I would like to see a lot of that really captured and even displayed in the proposal. And a lot of the assumptions that that we make on the installation side are based around a lot of the site information provided by Enact. So I think just I think having a lot of the electrical information up front is really important. I think having a lot of the structural information up front is extremely important in order to accurately model and price the project such that you're not designing a system that at the end of the day is going to be unfeasible to install. So I think capturing that information is an extremely critical kind of path. And if you're able to kind of suss out a lot of the issues with either structural electrical interconnections or weight bearing of the roof or the geotech of the ground, I think a lot of that can be extremely helpful in order to help streamline the project to make it a much easier delivery with a lot less kind of unexpected twists and turns, when you ultimately get to submitting for the permit and building the project. So I think a lot of that data, having all of that up front is absolutely critical in the delivery of these projects moving forward.
Great, thank you for that feedback, Spencer. That is definitely that is something that we're absolutely working on in terms of the structural info that can be delivered to the EPCs, so we can cut down some of that permitting as well as the analysis aspects that come in through the structural review. Folks, we have a few more minutes, so I would like to see if there are any other questions you may have. If you can post them on the Q&A, we can wait for a minute or two for those questions to be posted. So while we are waiting, Mark, in terms of the engage side of the platform, can you talk a little bit more about how the platform can actually track the performance of the system, and what are the sources of data that we use to track the performance of the system?
Sure. So Engage is a result of a big need in the marketplace that we saw, as end users would typically have a solar system installed. If it was the case of a CapEx investment versus a finance project, end customers had very little means to actually track the actual savings and lifetime financial metrics of their investment. They would typically get access to monitoring data, which would grant them visibility into the solar system engineering and performance, right? How many watts and volts and amps that it's producing, but it would not convert that into actual savings given, the rapidly changing energy rates. So Enact's platform is able to combine monitoring data from multiple sources, whether it's either direct API through the inverter or a connection through another data collection device or service. And that can take the system performance from the solar system or battery system and continually run the projections based on today's utility rates. In PG&E, we just received news of an 8% rate hike coming up in March. And that's something that is going to affect the solar savings and offsets for multiple customers. So we feel the need to provide that data in a easily digestible app for end users to track their system performance. And this app can be white labeled to the actual service provider so that it can be a Centrica Business Solutions app that is provided to end users to track the system performance, financial performance, all of the documents, access to system updates and reports, etc.
Great. Thank you, Mark. So if there are no other questions, looks like we just got another question. The question is, when was this project commissioned? The project in San Diego.
So that project, I believe, received final PTO around July and has now been up and running for several months.
And so I guess at this point, let's thank you so much for your time, Spencer. I know we have a hard stop at 11:45. So thank you again for joining us for this webinar today. Folks, if there are any questions that we could answer, or if you have questions about the ENVISION platform or the Engage platform, please connect to us through our website. We'll be very happy to get on a call and answer any of those questions. And we look forward to connecting with you through our website. Spencer, thank you again for your time. Mark, thank you for a great overview of the ENVISION platform on Enact. And thank you everyone for attending, and have a great Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing you in the new year. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Sharmila. Thanks, Spencer, for joining.